Why is making friends harder as we get older? I think that's a good question for us to consider as we talk about the topic of connection and relationships for our general health and fitness. Hey there, friends. For those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I am 41 years old and I am training to live an active, self-sufficient, long, healthy, and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep. I try to get between 7 and 9 hours of sleep in a night. I do so by minding what I eat. I try to eat within my energy balance, which is around 2200 calories. And I try to show up and do some exercise, training, and move throughout the day sufficiently to make sure that I stay fit and healthy for whatever life is going to throw at me. I also try to spend time with people I love and care about, do things that I enjoy, and generally try to live a stress-free and healthy life. So if that's something you're interested in, you can go ahead, check out my channel. I stream daily workouts every morning, or I stream my workout, I should say, that I do every morning. So I do a 30-minute morning routine, either with kettlebells, body weight, mobility. You can see it on my channel. And during this podcast, I talk about life, living, longevity, health, and I talk about different topics every day. On Monday, I talk about sleep. On Tuesday, I talk about food. On Wednesday, we talk about moving. Thursday, we talk about connecting. On Friday, we talk about mastery. On Saturday, we talk about motivation. And on Sunday, we talk about reflecting. And we actually do some reflecting on our general health and fitness and how that's going for us in life. So that's something you're interested in. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and we can hopefully continue this conversation over time. And that looks like one very nicely brewed cup of coffee, even though I think I need to work on the amount of water and the timing to make sure that I extract all of the flavors from the coffee. And I need to get a bit better at that. Today's training, what did I do? I did mobility. And at the end I always do 2 or 3 minutes of light core exercises. I don't do any excessive core exercises. I'm not working on building a six-pack. What I'm working on is core stability for kettlebell and daily life. And mobility, obviously, to maintain and increase the range of motion that I have and that I want to have for life. One of the biggest challenges for me right now is my right shoulder. That is limited that limits the work I can do overhead. And that is something that I am slowly but surely fixing together with a good physiotherapist. So, as we get older, I think we get to know our bodies better. We also find little things that we want to fix and work on and continuously need to work on. And this is definitely one of those things that I would like to fix over time so that I can continue to do pull-ups and overhead presses and push-ups without running the risk of injuring or overstraining that or straining that joint and the muscles around it. So yeah, mobility 30-minute routine. Go over to my channel, check it out if you're looking for a mobility routine or want some inspiration there. And we can continue the conversation there or here. But today we're going to talk about connection. And I think it's important to highlight why this matters for our general health and longevity. When I talk about connection, I'm talking about the relationships we have, and that don't need to be 100, right? It could also be 3 good relationships, whether that's family or friends, and the communities that we are a part of, the communities that we contribute to, that we participate in, that also gives us a sense of belonging and of utility, value that we can bring to those communities. I think both are important for our health and longevity, but let's look at this idea of relationships, right? Because relationships are hard work. Relationships require investments, patience, understanding, acceptance, tolerance, as well as boundaries, as well as expectations, right? And it's a complicated dynamic that is an essential part of our life. Even though a lot of people would like to think that we do well alone, if you look at the health of the general population of people, we do fine alone, we do better in groups, all right? We like groups, we enjoy being part of groups, we enjoy being connected to other people, whether that's romantically or in friendship, or for a set purpose. We can work together really well and do great things. But it is something that sadly seems to be missing from life for a large number of people. And I think that is a gap that we maybe want to fill. And the only way to fill that is to be conscious of the fact that actually by not trying, by not investing, by not exposing ourselves to the opportunity to bond, to create friendships, kinships, camaraderie, in whatever way possible, we are robbing ourselves of the opportunities of experiences and of joy. There's also a flip side, right? We may have been hurt by people. We may have been betrayed by people. We may have had other bad experiences with people that we trusted and cared about. And that's all valid, and that's all a part of the experience that we've had in life. But that doesn't change the concept and idea that relationships can help us stay fit and healthy for life. They're probably an integral part of the social dynamic that is necessary for us to actually live a purposeful, useful, good life. All right? And then we can take what we've learned in our experiences, and having had those experiences and learned from that, and bring that forward into the relationships we want to develop. Specifically, friendships, right? Because I would say family, you don't get to choose them. They are what you're born into. But friends, you get to be picky about. And we get to pick the friends that we would like to have. They also get to pick us. And if we're fortunate enough, that feeling is mutual and we develop a good, strong friendship. It takes conscious effort to want to stay up to date on people, to be interested in the lives of people, to have conversations with people. And sometimes there is this idea that because we've been out of touch for a while, there's no mutual interest. I've rarely found that to be true, actually. Most of the time, everyone, just like me, is busy with their own lives. Maybe this is slightly different for women. I don't know, but as a man, with my male friends, with my guy friends, I find that everyone's just busy with their own life, and then we talk when we talk, and we don't talk when we don't talk. And the space in between could be a year, could be a week. It doesn't really matter. We always just pick up the conversation more or less where we left it off. And sometimes big things have happened. Sometimes we're in touch when big things happen. Sometimes we find out a bit later. That is simply the way life works. But I think putting in the conscious effort to be interested, to be in touch, to find moments to connect, to build that into the cadence of living is very important and very healthy, all right? very healthy if it doesn't cause us more stress, more work, more trouble than it's worth. Because what we're not talking about is that we need to become the person who hosts, if we're talking to an American audience, the Thanksgiving dinner at their house every year, and then the Christmas dinner at their house every year, and then the 4th of July party at their house every year, right? I mean, if you like to do that, you can. But that's not what this is about. This is not about turning you into the host of everything. This is about you and I being slightly deliberate and conscious about the people we want to connect to, the people we want to be connected to, and putting in the effort for a phone call, putting in the effort to set a date to meet up for breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, inviting them to a birthday party, or just throwing a party once a year where we invite a couple of people over to hang out with. And, you know, being 41, I can tell you the people I party with, or used to party with, not necessarily the people who became my best friends, because there's some people who are still partying. There's a different expectation there. There are some friends that I used to go partying with that I'm still friends with. But in general, there's this larger group that we would go out with. And a lot of people have moved on and gone on, and it was fun when we were partying. And you know, if we'd meet now, we'd have a good conversation. But those aren't the close friendships and relationships that are the people that I invited to my wedding, for example, the people that I stay abreast of in terms of what's happening in life. So yeah, making conscious investments in that and in those friendships matters and is important, okay? It's important because we see life through our own experiences, but we also see life through the experiences of others. So it's an opportunity for us to share our experiences with other people so that they can see life through my experience, but also for me to learn from them and their experience. And the conversation that happens, the learning and the sharing, is a part of what enriches life. But sometimes it's also just nice to have someone to spend time with who doesn't have any expectations of us, right? So like at work, there are colleagues that we work with, and there's always an expectation or something that needs to be discussed, something that needs to be done, and that is related to our career and our work and the output that we're required to do. But we can just go for a walk with a friend just for the sake of walking. We can sit and have coffee with a friend and talk about all of the nonsense and non-serious things that are on our mind that we wouldn't necessarily discuss with other people. It is those conversations that make us human and people with lives, okay? And they're important for our mental state. It's important to get some feedback. Like sometimes there might be something on our mind, we're very frustrated and we're venting, and a friend might say, well, you know, I can hear that you're quite frustrated about this, but have you considered that you might be wrong? Okay, friends can do that for you. Or have you tried to look at it from their perspective? They might help you resolve the conflict. And there's an important conversation to be had about you and the way you look at life. A good friend probably is a good bet on helping you reflect and see life slightly differently. So friendships are important, and we would want to invest time and energy in those friendships, right? For me, for example, birthdays are a great moment to get a whole bunch of people together. We see each other. It's just a brief moment of connection. We usually have a short conversation. We return favor, like we go to their birthday. So there's 2 moments a year that we see each other already. And then in between, I think it's always important to try to have at least one, but hopefully more, moments where you can just stop by for a cup of coffee and a chat for a conversation. So we see each other a couple of times a year. Think of it this way. We see the people we live with, in my case my wife and children, every day, but I see my colleagues more than I see my wife and children throughout the week. Because over those 5 days I spent maybe 20 to 30 waking hours with my family from the moment they wake up to the moment they go to bed. But in between, right, I'm at the office for 40 hours working with customers and colleagues. So during the week, there's a lot more time spent with colleagues. Then the weekends are with family and friends, right? So just keep that in mind, that it is important to try to find time frequently to spend with people, to do things together, to hang out and to be in touch. And I know that digitally we're connected to a lot of people, but it's not the same having a chat conversation or actually sitting at a table with the phones put away and having a conversation, or going for a walk with the phones off and having a conversation, or sitting around a table playing a board game together without being interrupted by phones, but being present in the moment and focused on each other. So it's important to find those moments. It doesn't have to be every week, but you know, if we would have good close friendships, at least, you know, a good conversation once a year probably is going to help maintain that, but hopefully it's a bit more frequent for the sake of our health and well-being. So what's one thing that we can do to stay healthy and fit for life within the topic of connection and friendships and relationships? Well, last week we talked about finding a day and a set time to start calling a couple of people. I think for this week it's important to look at our schedule for the next 8 weeks and to see if we have a coffee scheduled, or a lunch, or another friendly encounter scheduled with a friend, someone we enjoy talking with and who we think enjoys talking to and with us. And if not, let's try to schedule something into our calendars. All right, so let's try to find some time with the person we care about and to actually spend like an hour or two with them, just being friends. Okay, and if we can make that small change, let's see if we can make that a regular thing, that every so many weeks, maybe the same person, maybe a different person, we meet up and catch up on the important things in life. And the manner of the catch up and what you do, that's all up to you. It's more about the picking the moment and making sure that we actually find a time to meet up and catch up. That's all I have for you today, friends. Thanks for dropping by, saying hi. And for those of you who are watching, my name is Toby. I'm 41 years old. I train to live an active, self-sufficient and adventurous life. I do so by minding my sleep, minding what I eat, showing up and doing some movement workouts, spending time with people I love and care about, doing things that I enjoy, generally trying to live a stress-free life. If that's something you're interested in, and interested in the other topics of this conversation, go ahead, check out my channel, hit like and subscribe on this video, and drop by for another conversation. Leave a comment in chat or in the comments, and I will always get back to you or answer your question in a next stream. Remember that we're good just the way we are. We've got to love ourselves before we can move on, and the only way to get anything done is by showing up and doing the work. So I will see you tomorrow. And remember, friends, subscribe.